The golden rules of achieving flow in construction. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the 3 keys to achieving flow. And it's really important to me that you understand this because it permeates through every single activity, every effort, every part of our plan, and everything that we think about on a construction project. These 3 keys to flow. And I'm also going to tell you how not to flow and some of the problems that we get into with that, just briefly, and summarize some of the other videos that I've done so it's all in one place, ready to go for you. You're going to love it. Let's do this. Okay, so let's talk about this. When you think about flow, one of the things that you probably think about is a critical path, right? So when you're looking at a CPM schedule, the flow for this project site is I've logic tied it and we're going to look at the critical path and take it all the way to the end. That's flow. If I take care of that critical path, I will flow. That is not flow in any way, shape, or form. Not only are these different work breakdown structures not linked together properly by location, but they're not communicating the overall complexity of the system, which if you ever read any of the works by L.E. Goldratt, you'll realize that we are dealing with complex systems and it's not that simple. In a CPM schedule, this is a projection, number 1. It will change 50 times, number 2. Number 3, this is not how construction works. This is exactly like if Toyota went into a manufacturing plant and said, everybody go wherever you want in the plant, and I think you need to go here, blah, 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 and you just listed it out on a computer screen, identified a critical path, and then you told people to go everywhere inside the facility in different locations, crossing each other at different intervals, different speeds, with gaps, in chaos, with no system and no flow. The Takt production system, which says, okay, we're not going to do a time by deliverable format, that's nonsense. We are going to do a time by location format where you actually see the production rhythm. And this, I've never shown this before, this is great. So if your production is going through the job site and these are zones, let's say this is zone 1 and 2 and then 3 and so forth, you want to see over here zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? And then this is increments of time on the top, and what you should be able to see is the flow of the trades throughout the system, and that shows you a beautiful diagonal flow. So this arrow is this arrow right here. So Toyota, this would be like Toyota saying, hey, we're going to base the production based on stations in a perfect flow and organize our space to accommodate the flow unit. And that's exactly what we should be doing. And that's what we do in a Takt plant. So we never do it like this. We always do it like this. So a flow is not the critical path. Let me say one other thing here that is probably going to anger some of my CPM brethren out there. By the way, there's nothing valuable about a CPM schedule or the software or using it in any way, especially for the Dalbert standard and any legal analysis. And the entire system is absolute garbage. When you do this, you are narrowing the overall duration and you're increasing your work in process above the capacity of the system, which is only going to extend your project. And if you use something like EVM, Earned Value Management, that is going to incentivize you to spend money earlier because it indicates progress, which is going to increase this line as well. So you cannot increase work in process or utilization above capacity. Anyone that understands anything about production theory will know that a CPM schedule is absolutely worthless. So we have to be intact. And there are keys to flow. And I want to identify some of the common misconceptions. In line with this concept of too much work in process, people will say, oh, to flow, I'll just push. I will panic and get people to like really start to freak out. I will work overtime. I will get more materials out there on the job site and stage them in people's way out ahead. I will provide more money to just solve problems for expedition. I will add more labor and just stock the overall project site with more and more people, right? This would be like at my house, and I have 11 children. They're all paid for. We pay taxes, the whole nine. We have health insurance. They're all biological, so don't worry about that. But like, it would be like me telling my kids, hey, it's time to clean your rooms. And if they don't get it done fast enough, here's another kid. Here's a third kid. Here's a fourth kid. Let's put all 11 kids into that room. Do you think that room's going to get cleaned faster? No. More distraction, more talking, more confusion, more misunderstanding of who's doing what, more fighting, more he said, she said. These are good kids. I love these people. Like they're my homies. I'm so close to my kids. But if I want it clean, I will not add more kids to a room to get it clean. I will provide better instructions to the kid that owns that room. Like that is exactly how it works. So the concepts typically in construction are push, panic, overtime, more materials, more money. This is the exact wrong thing to do. Now don't let me make you too mad. If anybody does this, says this, suggests this, requires this, they do not know what they are doing. Period. This is the exact formula to tank your project. You can't do it. There's good news here. There's 3 different ways that you can flow. In this diagram that I've shown you, number 1, you can level your zones, okay? That means that when you go from zone to zone to zone, you must experience a similar amount of work. Zone to zone to zone to zone, you must experience a similar amount of work. Number 2, you can level your trades. That means that you have the crews, as they go through here, through each of the zones, leveled to where they take about the same amount of time in each zone. Take about the same amount of time in each zone. And then the third one is have the right number of zones, okay? So when you get in trouble, I just want to say, never push, never panic, never start working overtime and overburden your people, never bring materials out and stage it in people's way, never spend more money, never add additional crews. That will only tank your project. Do these 3 and I'm going to explain them now. So I've never shown this before and I think you're going to love it. So if you say, hey, I've got 3 zones on my project site, just as a representative example, 1, 2, and 3. And the work density, meaning the amount of work is shown kind of like this. The more bars that I show above those zones, the more work that they have, right? That shows work density, right? And let's say that you're just going to run 3 trade partners in here, and I'll run these by circles, right? And the duration, this one takes this much time. The longer the line, it takes longer, and the shorter the line, it takes less time. So if you're moving these trades through these zones, look at what happens here. I'm going to give you a couple of scenarios. So let's say we start our takt time, and we start to move in, and this first trade goes into that first zone. Great, not a problem. We're doing good. Then what happens when this one moves to the second zone, and then this trade moves to that first? Will it keep going the same speed or will it slow down? It will slow down because this trade had this much work to do in this zone versus this much work to do in this zone. So you will stop here and you will create a bottleneck and they'll crash into each other. So what we need to do is level our zones. So let's go ahead and draw this. Let's say that we adjusted our zones to where this one is a little bit bigger, this one is a little bit smaller, and this one's just a little bit bigger, okay? Zone 1, 2, 3, and now the leveling, it's pretty leveled. That means in each zone you have a similar amount of work, okay? So let's take these trades down here, right? They still have this duration, this duration, this duration. Once this first trade comes in here, okay, and hits that first takt zone, great, not a problem. And then when it goes to the second one, it's actually doing great because these are fairly leveled and you don't have a disproportional amount of work. But the problem is, what happens when this one hits in this zone right here? Because it takes longer, it's going to stop and these two are going to crash into each other. So what we need to do is this, a third scenario. We need to first level our zones like we already had it, okay? So 1, 2, and 3, okay? We already did this. We've got this much work, a little bit more in the second, a little bit more in the third, not a problem. And then let's say we level this and we have our first crew, great, but this one we split out into 2 because we want to level them and get them going the same speed, the same distance apart, okay? So let's look at this. So the first trade comes in and is going through that first zone, great. The second takt time comes in, similar amount of work, great. Then in the second takt time, this trade would come in and do this one. It's the similar duration, so they're flowing right away. And then when this one goes to the third zone, it's fine. This one goes to the second zone, it's fine. And then when the third one comes in to this first zone, it's fine. So because the zones are leveled and because the trades are leveled, they're flowing beautifully through this system without interruption. The problem is, and this goes back to Ellie Goldrat's work when he talks about the goal, is that this was your zone bottleneck and this was your trade bottleneck, and we had to fix those. In order to flow, we've got to have these leveled by density, not area, and we've got to have these leveled fairly well, going the same speed, the same distance apart. So there's one other consideration. And the third thing is, which I've talked to you about in multiple videos, is the takt time formula of takt wagons plus takt zones minus 1 multiplied by the takt time equals the duration. If you have 2 zones and it looks like this, right? And you split that into 4 zones, this is half the duration because it's half the zone size. It would look like this, and it would flow beautifully down the page, and the continuation of that would mean that you have different durations. So putting it into this formula and adjusting, hey, instead of 2 zones, let's do 4, and we have a calculator for this, can really make sure that you flow. So there's 3 keys to flow. Level your zones, level your trades, and have the right number of zones. It is all in our book, Takt Planning. You can learn about it. The other thing is, if you really want your project to flow, put us in. We help project teams with consulting, with project planning, with project controls. It's really quite an amazing service. Just give us a call. And so in the description below, I'm going to link you to the book, to our services, and I hope this has been helpful for you because it's looping it all together. If so, like and comment. And also, I'd love to hear from you. What do you think about this concept? But I hope you enjoyed this video. On we go.